Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday evening, 7:16 p.m. So, if anybody's new to me, my name is Ernestine Day, and I am the Soulful Guitarist, and I channel energy from Source through me, through my guitar, without using words. And if you're familiar with light language, that's what I do. And, okay, get rid of that one. So I've had a busy day. I actually took myself out for lunch. I had halibut, just for the halibut. Sorry, I'm bragging that way. But yeah, so I had some halibut. I haven't had halibut in, that's got about a year. Yeah, I've been having cravings for it for the last couple of days. So while I was in town, I went and had some. So, let's see. Oops. Okay, let's see where we go. Hello, Samuel. Samuel's on YouTube. And hello, Jen. And Bronte, my beautiful sister, which I actually had the pleasure of meeting physically at Soulful Fest in August of 2022. And the one thing I can say for all of us, because we're all these incredible spiritual beings having this human experience, and you know, I remember the first time I heard that, and it just spoke to me. And I went, yeah, because it fit inside. Do I need to understand it? Hell no, I just need to trust that I am. Whatever this is coming from this beautiful place, and it's like, don't try to think and try to analyze anything. Just be with it. And I'm learning to do that for myself. Yeah, I love you too, Bronte. Yeah, it was funny. I think it was the second night of Soulful Fest. It started to rain. Bronte and another sister of mine, I can see her face, but I can't think of her name. Anyway, they were sleeping in a tent, and it started to rain. So it was a scramble for those two to go get their stuff out of there, because I don't think they had a top. It was just screened, and it was quite funny. But yeah, it's what I find for myself is the more I open up to who I am and trusting myself, especially with my guitar, and like, you know, Bronte heard me, well, it's coming up 3 years. Delia, thank you. Anyway, and is this looper, I've only been looping for 4 years, and this amazing tool has opened me up to a part of me I did not know was inside. And it's been an amazing journey. And then it was June of it was 2 years ago. No, 3 years ago, 2022, that I embodied this, that I am. So I stepped in another level of trusting this, that I am. And by the way, that song was channeled. I've been living here just over 3 years, and this place, I've got this vortex I sit in. And, you know, like it's the amount of energy that has been channeled. That one's called the frequency of love. And because that's who we are. Yeah, it was really funny because the scramble was just hilarious. And but we were actually Mulberry Mountain in Ozark, the Ozark Mountains, called Mulberry Mountain in Arkansas. And yeah. So let's see where we go next. thanks everybody. Oh, because you all contributed to what unfolded. Oh, thanks, Bronte. She just said, she goes, so fun, and she, smiling, big hugs, and reminds me of the Grateful Dead, but better, she goes. She's chuckling on that. Actually, I've had a couple people who have said to me during my live and stuff, I've been compared to Phil Collins' band. I can't think of the name right now. And I think it's not Phil Collins, sorry. It'll come to me. And somebody also spoke about Ed Sheeran. They said, Ed needs to hear you, right? And yeah, this band, I can see my old roommate when I lived on 5 acres for 8.5 years, and my roommate there, Barry, he introduced me to this band, and the video, and it was their first time, because I don't, I have not been exposed to a lot of artists. No, not Genesis. That's why I corrected myself in Phil Collins. Pink Floyd, there we go. I knew it would come, but Pink Floyd. And I went, wow, that's a huge compliment. But, Barry, as I said, introduced me to those guys, and I just remember feeling that energy, and that's going back years now. Yeah. Yeah. And for anybody new to me, my name is Ernestine Day, and I am the Soulful Guitarist. I've only been looping for 4 years, and this incredible tool has cracked me open to a part of me that did not have a way to express itself. And how far, I'll put it this way, how far I've come, and just trusting myself. Bronte, my sister, she's actually on Facebook right now. She heard me in August of 2022 at Soulful Fest, and I believe that was the first time you ever heard me, Bronte. But she'll even say, like, Murney's elevated, right? And I'm just stepping more and more into this that I am, and trusting myself, and yeah. Just so everybody knows, I have a concert on August 23rd. You can watch it virtually or in person. And it's just a friend of mine offered her place to do a concert, and so I'm taking her up on it. It was going to be July, but I could feel this resistance within, which is Spirit letting me know. And I finally went, no, I'm going to move it till August 23rd. Also, I'm going to be performing at the Langley Pride, which is one of the cities. You know how a city, we have all these cities attached to it. That's what I live at, as all these cities attached, and the city of Langley, which is just outside of Vancouver. Pride is August the 9th, and they're estimating 200 people that evening. They've hired, I'll rephrase it, because I've resigned from the committee. I cannot be around toxic, dysfunctional people who don't appreciate others. They want to oppress, in this case, me. In fact, this one person tried to prevent me from sharing my music. I won't do that dance. And thanks to the Langley Pride Society itself is the only reason why I'm performing there. And so I will give, I'll let people know what I'm doing on August 23rd, and that way they want to come, spend a couple hours. And this is one thing I want to say, because I don't want people to pigeonhole me, and that's the way I phrase it. Meaning this is, if we try to pigeonhole our emotions and feelings, we're restricting ourselves. We're limiting ourselves. And with what I do is I intuitively channel this incredible energy. And it's, I never know how an energy wants to be expressed. If you guys, sometimes I'll start a song, I think I'm starting a song, I'll strike a note or something, and I trust that, and I'll just figure out where it wants to go. But yet I don't know how it wants to be expressed. And yes, I do meditative stuff. Yes, I do sound baths. But I'm also way more than that. And I'm going to give you guys an idea. I am so grateful for being raised where I was raised around music in the house. So my dad was a fiddle player. I played Scottish and Irish fiddle music. And then a friend of my dad's who was a fiddler as well. And when John was in the military, he was a bandmaster. And they played all kinds of music. And he introduced me to big band swing music. And I heard that I just felt that energy, and I went, wow, right? So I'm going to give you guys an idea, and that's where, don't try to hold, I got to say this, I'm sort of jumping a little bit here, but the thing is, with emotions and feelings, don't try to hold back, don't try to contain it, allow it to be whatever it's going to be, go for the ride, and that's what I get to do, and you guys get to come along with me. And you guys also contribute to what I'm doing. And so I'm going to give you guys an idea of this. I just love this, the feeling around this energy. Here we go. love that energy. There's something about old swing music, the big band music is like, it just speaks to me, it resonates with me. Aw, thank you, Samuel. Aw, I'm gonna, it's, I'll get back here. Just so you guys know, I use a multi-stream here, and for some reason right now, I'm not able to see Facebook's comments on here. I'm able to see YouTube, and then I'm on my phone here, my Facebook channel, so I can see the comments there. And yeah, it's very well said. This is what Samuel said. I'll put this one up. I really stepped into my own. And Samuel, when you've been hanging around with me a couple of years, something like that. It's been a while, and Samuel would have witnessed that stepping into this, really owning it, and trusting myself, and that has really unfolded and evolved in the last couple of years. And that's the thing of our journeys, is stepping into who we are, not what we think we are. Like I've known, like with my music, how it really started. This was, I want to say it really started, meaning I was conscious and aware of what was going on. I got into counseling in 1996. I had the most amazing counselor, and I so appreciate Spirit bringing the right one for me and with me. Her name was Farida. And as I opened up to my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own emotions, I would channel that energy through my guitar. Again, without using words, all I had then was just the guitar. And it was magical. And I went in the recording studio in 2002 just to record my music, to secure it, because I didn't want anybody to try to claim it was theirs. Because I know where it comes from within me, and I know how special it is. I know how incredible it is. It's not egotistical. No, it's about where it comes from inside of me, from my heart and my soul. And so I was in the recording studio, and there's a gentleman, unfortunately he's passed away from cancer, Jerry Paquette, in Nanaimo, BC. And that's what the studio went into. He makes it affordable for independent artists like myself to record, because, you know, you guys think going into a recording studio is inexpensive. No, it's very expensive. You can pay anywhere from $100 an hour to $250 or $300 an hour, it just depends. And Jerry just made it affordable for myself and many other artists to record our music. And so anyway, so I was running out of money, and my mother passed away. Now remember, this is 2002. No, 2001, rephrase that, 2001, I was in a recording studio, my apologies. In 2001, and my mother died in 1991, so her estate was long settled. And I got a $3,000 check from her estate. That's how my first album was established and put out. This is the original cover of it, which is so me. I was a motorcycle rider back in those days, and I had a gold wing and a trailer. And so that's how my first album came out. And then I released it in February of 2002. And I was encouraged to look into it, explored about doing this as a living. I knew I could feel that I'm good enough to do that because, again, where it comes from within me. And I went into this program, like I'm highly sensitive to you guys, and some people think, oh, you need to toughen up. I want to say, fuck you, right? People do not have to be rude and disrespectful to anybody. It's a choice. Yeah. Anyway, so in this program I was in, my facilitator, my media, the person supposed to be working with me and all this, and she saw to it, like, because it was a 1-year program through unemployment insurance, and at the 6-month period, just do an update and everybody gets approved. And she wouldn't meet up with me for at least 3 months before that. I was reaching out to her asking for help, and I asked to go before the board again, and she blocked me. I lost my funding just like that. And it was devastating because I had to give up my home, and yeah, it's pretty devastating. So I literally put this away pretty well for about 13, 15 years. And I started picking up the guitar again around 2015. And then 4 years ago, I invested in a looper, and here I am today. I'm in awe, like that continuously blows me away. If you think I know what I'm doing, I have no idea, but you're talking about trusting oneself. Okay, let's see where we go. Spirit, when I started looping 4 years ago, it was about August seems to be a very special month for me for whatever reason. And I remember it was in August, I'd say August of 2023, I think it was. I could be wrong, it could be 2022, but I think it was 2023. They showed me, they told me whatever phrase you want to use, but they showed me that I create a container. That's what the first track, once I lay it down, that's a container. Once that container is anchored in place, literally that's what it is, and inside becomes like a sandbox. And it's just, I get to play in that sandbox. And it's been magical to witness myself, to trust this, because I never picked prior to the looper. I have my own style with the guitar, but it was just the guitar and me. But now the looper just added up. Like it cracked me open, like literally. I remember that when I was listening back, and my music activates me, and my feet started going. Now my feet, it's all of a sudden my legs are just jumping, and it was magical. And I'm witnessing myself going, wow, you've never done that before. And which is true. And it's just an incredible relationship with this amazing, beautiful looper. Yeah. So, you guys, it's 8:20. I will see you guys later. Hugs and loves, everybody.